introducing the fences,
May we
but
be
I
blessed,
really want to.
be nourished. May we be held in the luminous dark. May we be blessed, may we be nourished, may we be held in the luminous dark. Darkness more brilliant than 10 billion suns, darkness through which the world is begun. Darkness more brilliant than 10 billion suns, darkness through which the world is begun. May we be blessed, may we be nourished, may we be held in the luminous dark. May we be blessed, may we be nourished, may we be held in the luminous dark. Darkness more brilliant than 10 billion suns, darkness through which the world is begun. Darkness more brilliant than 10 billion suns, darkness through which the world is begun. May we be held, may we be nourished, may we be blessed in the luminous dark. May we be held, may we be nourished, may we be blessed in the luminous dark. Darkness more brilliant than 10 billion suns, darkness through which the world is begun. Darkness more brilliant than 10 billion suns, darkness through which the world is begun. May we be held, may we be nourished, may we be blessed in the luminous dark. May we be held, may we be nourished, may we be blessed in the luminous dark. May we be held, may we be nourished, may we be blessed in the luminous dark. May we be held, may we be nourished, may we be blessed in the luminous dark. Welcome to our December chapel, our journey and our time together of shared devotion and communal connection and prayer. It's a gift to be gathering here in Star King community as we unfold into the completion week of this fall semester, as we turn toward the time of the yet more dark, those of us in the Northern Hemisphere, moving toward the season of completions, of slowing, and of celebrations, and of grief, many things for each of us. And it's a gift to come together in this way of prayer. Today, we turn to the question, where does wisdom come from? And we have the gift of being woven in reflection and shared prayer by this fall semester's transformative ritual craft class, which I have had the great joy of stewarding and being in ceremony with. Today we're guided by Adrienne and Anastasia and Julie and Rachel and Rose, with the always brilliant support of Pastor Jacqueline. Thank you all for your presence here. We are grateful for you and to be together in this shared prayer.
Greetings, beloveds. I'm so glad that you could join us for our first chapel in December. Please join me in reverence as we welcome the dark and slowing down of winter, as we welcome the dark and quietude of the unknown. I offer words from Jacqueline Woodson. Even the silence has a story to tell you. Just listen. Listen. I offer homage to the ancestors, beginning with the wise words from Alice Walker. To acknowledge our ancestors means we are aware that we did not make ourselves, that the line stretches all the way back, perhaps to God or to gods. We remember them because it is an easy thing to forget that we are not the first to suffer, to rebel, to love, and to die. The grace with which we embrace life, in spite of the pain, of the sorrows, is always a measure of what has gone before. And so it is. In this chapel, I acknowledge my ancestors and the ancestral keepers of the land in which I reside. I dwell in the periphery of Tokiasti, established and named by the Cherokee people as the place where they race. White men named this central place Asheville in the state of North Carolina. This is a land that holds the memory of forced removal, of the Trail of Tears, of chattel slavery, failed Reconstruction, Jim Crow, and urban renewal. The legacy of land grabs, stark social inequality, and displacement persist into the modern present. In spite of all that, the Eastern Band of Cherokees have found financial, social, and land use stability within their existing territorial borders, living within just under 57,000 acres, 50 miles away from Asheville. Reparations for the tribe looks like a profitable and a more stable tourist economy compared to Asheville. Reparations for the Black residents descended from those enslaved by whites and the Cherokee, who are also survivors of urban renewal, died in conversation 2 years ago. Healing relationships with people and land remain to be seen. Now I invite the rest of you to share the names and lands of the ancestral peoples where you reside. And if you know a little bit of the story of the healing and reparations that have taken place, please do share them in the chat. Thank you to those who have shared. And now we begin our chalice lighting. The chalice is a sacred symbol of Unitarian Universalism. When we gather together as a community, we light this flame with our Star King chalice lighting words. The words will be posted in the chat. Please join me in saying them. And Pastor Jacqueline, will you light the chalice? First, we light a flaming chalice together. With this kindling of this flame, we reaffirm our commitment to accept life's gifts with grace and gratitude, and to use them to bless the world in the spirit of love. We now light white and red candles as well as part of a tradition created to accompany the chalice lighting by our Emerita President, Rebecca Parker. The white candle is a symbol of violence, suffering, and death, as a reminder that we gather in a time of horrific war. The red candle then reminds us of the abiding reality of love that we carry with us always, and a reminder of our shared work to restore the human community and the earth to wholeness and harmony. May it be so.
We find wisdom in many places. One of the places we find it is from the earth herself, as these words from Jennifer Healy tell us, I am of the earth. I walk among the trees and know each for a friend. I see a history and imagine what secrets they keep, what wisdom they'd lend. To think I too can stand tall in the wind, can be still as a stone, or alive with the energy of the forest, its soul, yet remain calm like the plants who are meditating always. Roots easy in the soil, face turned to the sun. I too am a field of all possibilities. I'm a part of this world. I know how it is to flourish and to wither, how to endure the seasons and the storm, how to travel far, yet remain unchanged in a most essential way. I know in my own body the movement of the waters of the earth. I think, yes, I am kin to the river, a brother, a sister. The love I have been given washes over me, and I feel as though I am the giver. A single leaf let free joins the current, joins my own reflection as it drifts away. I imagine myself at home, like the passing leaf, wherever I happen to be. And I too know the bittersweetness of change. I walk into the woods and I think, yes, I am very much of the earth. There are times I feel as ancient as the fern, as widespread as the moss, or weightless like the blackbird with scarlet on his wings. And I feel I know all the secrets of the universe. The world sings to me and I hear the song. The winds carry messages that I can read. My visions turn true. My desires are cast far beyond words, like the dandelion sets free her light puffy seeds. I step easy on the earth, and God speaks to me through the trees.
In a time before time, when the universe was young and newly awake, there arose a figure known as Lyra, the teacher of the absurd. Lyra was neither god nor mortal, neither fully real nor entirely illusion. Yet she moved through the world as a trickster, a sage, and a mystery. Her laugh was like the echo of 1,000 voices, as if she spoke for every being who had ever questioned, doubted, or wondered at the strange shape of existence. Lyra did not offer comfort, nor did she soothe the anxious heart. Instead, she wandered through the realms, stirring the dust, inviting laughter and bewilderment. Wherever she went, she appeared at a crossroads, and in moments of indecision, in the hesitant pauses between certainty and doubt, mortals who encountered her were never the same, for she did not come to offer answers, but to unravel the tidy stories they told themselves. In her teachings, Lyra would sometimes hold up a pebble and say, "This is the universe." Then she would hold up her hand and declare, "And this is nothing at all." With that, she would toss the pebble into the sky where it would vanish, leaving the listeners baffled and uncertain as to which, if either, held more meaning. One day, a young student named Kyle sought her out, desperate for answers. He had spent years in search of meaning, grappling with the mysteries of life, only to find himself more lost than when he began. "Teacher," he said, bowing before Lyra, "tell me the purpose of it all. Why am I here? What does it mean?" Lyra looked at him with eyes that danced with the light of stars and the shadows of unknown places. She smiled, and in the smile was the faintest trace of sadness, or was it amusement? "Tell me, Kyle," she asked, "if I were to give you an answer, would it satisfy you?" Kyle thought for a moment, his heart heavy with the desire to grasp something true. "Yes," he replied, though even as he said it, doubt crept into his voice. Lyra chuckled and gestured for him to follow. She led him to the edge of a cliff, overlooking the vast expanse of the universe, where stars burned and blinked out in patterns both familiar and strange. "Look," she said, "at this endless sky. Each star has its story, each story its ending. Some flare bright and fade quickly, others burn quietly for eons. Some will never be seen, some will go unnoticed. Now tell me, Kyle, does the sky care?" Kyle looked at the stars, their light stretching across the dark, indifferent and infinite. "I don't know," he whispered, for suddenly he felt very small and uncertain. "Exactly," Lyra replied with a glint in her eye. "The sky doesn't know, nor does it need to. Its beauty is in its existence, not in its purpose. It burns, it shines, it fades, it dies, all without needing to know why." "Then there is no meaning at all?" Kyle asked, his voice wavering between disappointment and curiosity. "Meaning," Lyra said, tilting her head as if the word was a strange artifact she had never encountered. "Meaning is what we make in the face of the absurd. The universe does not come with answers wrapped in ribbons, nor is it concerned with the questions we ask. It simply is, as we simply are. And yet, here we are, wondering, searching, weaving tales of purpose to steady our hearts." She leaned closer, her face softening. "This, Kyle, is the absurd. That we search for order in a cosmos that defies it. That we seek purpose in a place where none is guaranteed. And yet," she gestured to the stars, "we create it every day. We craft stories, build worlds, and give names to things that do not ask for them. And in that act, we become creators of our own meaning. This is the gift of the absurd, to find joy in the act of seeking itself, knowing the answer may forever elude us." Kyle felt something lift within him, a sense of release, as if he had been freed from a prison he hadn't known existed. So we live with the absurd. Then we make meaning without needing it to be true. Lyra laughed a laugh that seemed to ripple through the night sky. "Oh, Kyle," she said, "truth is a strange creature, and perhaps it is only ever found in fragments. What you call absurdity is not an obstacle, but an invitation to live fully, to laugh at your own bewilderment, to marvel at the mystery without needing it to submit to reason. Meaning is not a stone you unearth. It is a dance you invent in the dark when there's no one there to watch." And with that, Lyra vanished, leaving Kyle alone on the cliff's edge, staring up at the stars. He understood then that he would never have a final answer, that life itself was a question, that invited him to live without expecting it to be solved. He turned back, feeling lightened, filled with a sense of strange and joyful freedom. The absurd was not a void. It was an open field, wild and wide, a space where he could wander and wonder, finding meaning only to let it go again. And in that, he understood the truest wisdom of all.
Beauty, beauty in existence. It's beauty is in its existence, not its purpose. To find joy in the act of seeking is in itself beauty. To find joy in the act of seeking is in itself wisdom, an invitation to live fully, an invitation to live fully. Wisdom is within, wisdom is within, wisdom is within, is within.
Wisdom is within, wisdom is among, wisdom is beyond. In our journey this semester in transformative ritual craft, we have again and again turned to the practice of co-created prayer. We invite you to join us in spontaneous, heartfelt, attuned, in the moment, co-created prayer. We'll open with the prompt, wisdom is, prayer poem, both. Wisdom is, and you'll receive from us a co-created in the moment wisdom poem prayer, and we invite you to fill in the blank in whatever arises for you with this prompt. Wisdom is. Feel welcome to chime in the chat as we offer. Wisdom is being and becoming.
Wisdom is the black candle of Kwanzaa.
Wisdom is, I'll say it again, it's beauty.
Wisdom is letting your heart lead you with love.
Wisdom is staying in love with the question.
Wisdom is listening and listening again.
Wisdom is knowing that we don't know.
Wisdom is transcending metaphors of light and dark and embracing love and fear instead. Abundance of love and paucity of fear. Make more love and bring less of the fear.
Wisdom is sensing and sensing and sensing for its own sake.
Wisdom is knowing we will never know it all, but we hope to know enough.
Wisdom is knowing when to apologize.
Wisdom is being in the cycle as it unfolds.
We invite you to place your wisdom is in the chat as we offer one more round. Wisdom is embodying presence.
Wisdom is transcending the fear to be vulnerable.
Wisdom is walking the path unpaved and still finding a trail.
Wisdom is listening to the stories of those who have gone before us and those who are sharing this journey with us now.
Wisdom is in the mother.
Wisdom is in our trust of ourselves.
Wisdom is the falling away of the veil. Wisdom is to appreciate biodiversity and connectivity. Wisdom is waiting. Wisdom is listening to your body and emotions. Wisdom is remembering to breathe. Wisdom is remembering to breathe. Wisdom is remembering to breathe. Thank you for this wisdom weaving.
So we are turning towards the darkest time of the year. Let's explore what we can learn from the darkness with the words in this poem by Stephanie Noble in celebration of the winter solstice. Do not be afraid of the darkness. Dark is the rich, fertile earth that cradles the seed, nourishing growth. Dark is the soft night that cradles us to rest. Only in darkness can stars shine across the vastness of space. And only in darkness is the moon's dance so clear. There is mystery woven in the dark, quiet hours. There's magic in the darkness. Do not be afraid. We are born of this magic. It fills our dreams that root and unravel and we reweave themselves in the shelter of the deep night. The dark has its own hue, its own resonance, its own breath. And it fills our soul, not with despair, but with promise. Dark is a gestation of our deep and knowing self. Dark is the cave where we rest and renew our soul. We are born of the darkness, and each night we return to the deep, moist womb of our beginnings. Do not be afraid of the darkness, for in that depth of that very darkness comes a first glimpse of our own light, the pure inner light of love and knowing. And as it glows and grows, the darkness recedes. As we shed our light, we shed our fear, and we revel in the wonder of all that is revealed. So do not rush the coming of the sun, and do not crave the lengthening of the day. Celebrate the darkness, here and now, a time of richness, a time of joy.
When I was 20 years old, I spent 4 months at a tiny art college in a tiny town on the rural west coast of Ireland. I arrived there in early January, when the wet and dreary days lose sunlight completely around 4 p.m., and the darkness feels all-encompassing. Long winter nights weren't new to me, but I'm a city kid. With only a handful of exceptions, the darkness, as I knew it, had always been lessened by the bright artificial glow of streetlights. This rural darkness was complete. and it felt enormous. It took months for me to really befriend that darkness. I walked everywhere in my time there, and at first I would rush home from my studio as quickly as I could, avoiding being out in the night for too long. But as my comfort with being out at night grew over time, I began to notice the most basic things about the world, brand new to me in those moments. As it turns out, it matters a whole lot what phase the moon is in at night, that the pitch darkness of a new moon is a whole different world than the warm glow of a full moon. It turns out that moon shadows aren't just a metaphor, which I had previously thought, but an actual occurrence on full moon nights. Turns out that as I got to know this landscape, it wasn't so impossible to navigate in the dark. I just had to be more deeply tuned into my surroundings, noticing more and more the rhythms and sounds and smells and textures of the place around me. I just had to have a deeper relationship with this land to not be afraid of it in its nighttime form. In Irish folklore, stories of the other world, that realm that exists just alongside our own, the home of the fairies and spirits, perhaps the home of the dead. Those stories often start out with someone walking through the land on a dark night. A person on a simple trip home gets turned around in some way, and before they know it, the world they're experiencing is just a bit different from before. Time moves differently, their perception is off, the rules of the world as they know them have suddenly shifted. They have to readjust and learn this new existence if they hope to return to their usual realm intact. Recently, I found myself thinking about the other world and wondering if the experience of that kind of turned around reality might be similar to how it is to experience this political moment. There's no shortage of voices around us saying that we are now in dark times, and being real about fascism and the politics of supremacy and violence that are growing stronger all around us. This darkness is sure to continue. And at the same time, we know that there is real harm in consistently equating the dark with the bad. If we do name this as a time of darkness, we must redefine and complexify what that means. As I take in a world of increasing climate chaos, unraveling systems, and a constantly shifting political landscape, this framing from psychotherapist and grief ritualist Francis Weller has been resonating. The week of the election, he shared these thoughts. Quote, "We have entered a prolonged season of descent, taking us down into the unknown. The imagery of myth and fairy tales, we have left the ordinary world and have entered the underworld, a sightless terrain that is shadowy and strange." As much as the reality of our world fills me with grief and fear of what might be to come, within this frame, it does not point me towards nihilism. As Weller writes, "I say this not with a note of despair, but instead recognizing and valuing the necessary work that takes place in the dark. The dark is the realm of the soul, of whispers and dreams, mystery and imagination, death and ancestors. It is an essential territory, both inevitable and required, offering a form of soul gestation that may gradually give shape to our deeper lives, personally and communally. We experience things differently in the darkness, in the turned around reality of the other world. Our assumptions about which way to turn and in the forward motion of time are interrupted and reshaped. And what is required of us to navigate is new and unexpected. But this in itself is not a bad thing or something to fear. Weller writes, certain things can only happen in this grotto of darkness. Think of the wild networks of roots and microbes, mycelium and minerals, making possible all that we see in the day world, or the extensive networks in our own bodies, bringing blood, nutrients, oxygen, and thought to our corporeal lives. All of it is happening in the darkness. I went back to that tiny town in rural Ireland this past summer, to that first land that I learned to navigate in true darkness. It had been almost 10 years since I'd been there last, but greeting the land felt like greeting an old friend, known so intimately in the past that the decade in between hardly interrupted the relationship. The intimacy I felt with that land, forged in part through experiencing it in deep darkness, felt like a kind of a well of wisdom to drop into. I landed easily into a new rhythm while there, a different kind of attunement that helped me to find my way forward. I wonder what kind of wisdom we might gain from dropping into the darkness of this moment, reorienting our perception in this turned around reality. I don't say that to dishonor or distort the real suffering and pain here. Deep grief, in all likelihood, will be one of the primary notes of times to come. But there is real wisdom in grief that we may also deepen into. This is far from the first time that we or our people have experienced times of darkness, of suffering and loss. Perhaps there is an intimacy to build with this land, with the land of our bodies and our hearts, that may yet have something to offer us as we navigate the path ahead. Perhaps the darkness itself can remind us of the wisdom that we carry, the wisdom available to us in our slow, careful attention. Perhaps we can let this otherworld journey reshape us, allow us to navigate this moment with renewed wisdom as our guide.
Navigate this renewed wisdom with our guide. Moon shadow, getting to know. Moon shadow, getting to know you. The landscape in the dark is not as scary as you thought. Moon shadow, getting to know you, getting to know you, getting to know you. Spirits within you, spirits among you, spirits behind you, spirits between you, spirit within you, spirits among you, spirits behind you, spirits between you. That's the source of your spark. That's the source of your spark. That's the source of your spark in the dark.
Allow yourself to be washed in a blessing. This is the traditional Roman Catholic benediction. I wrote a feminist version leaning non-binary. At this difficult time, I thought it might make a difference. I will sing the Latin, and Pastor Jacqueline will do the English revelation. At the end, I will invite you to sing the closing phrase with us, Halala Amen, means hallowed be. Amen. And Amen Selah. Selah is a word, means this psalm is sealed. We will also do a bit of a play out so you can really rest into the music.
Let it be so. In the name of God, Creatrix,
Sancta Mater Nostra,
our Holy Mother,
Libera omnium Maria,
and of all her children,
animi mundique,
and the soul of the world,
et specierum
and of the countenance,
muliebrum,
feminine,
semper pulcherimarum,
always most beautiful,
Spiritus Sancta,
of the Holy Healing Spirit,
sanandaeque,
forever,
seculorum,
and ever.
Halala, Amen.
Hallowed be Amen.
Amen, Selah.
Amen. We seal this blessing.
Perimberas redemptia,
With showers of redemption,
sigut sursum cadenda,
as if they're upwards falling.
Halala, Amen.
Hallowed be Amen.
Amen, Selah.
Amen. We seal this blessing.
Everybody with me, please. Halala, Amen. Amen, Selah. One more time. Halala, Amen.
Amen.
Amen, Selah.
Amen. Selah. We enter now into our time of prayer. And as we do so, I invite you to bring attention to your body. Feel the in and out of your breath, the steady beating of your heart. Feel the solidness of the ground where you're sitting or standing. And imagine the deep expanse of the earth stretching far out beneath you.
If it feels available to you, I invite you to draw close your sources of wisdom, your sources of love, guidance, and support. Beloved ancestors, the divine by any name, spirit of love and connection itself. Surround yourself with all of the love and wisdom available to you in this moment. As we tune into our many sources of wisdom, in the full embrace of the darkness, we know that we carry many sources of sorrow into our time together. Our hearts break for political chaos, for the impact of systems of violence and supremacy. Our hearts break for the grief in our own lives, for suffering all around us. May we make space for the fullness of that sorrow. May we allow ourselves to feel our necessary grief for this world and for all that we carry. And in the luminous resource of the darkness, resourced by our abundant love for this world, we also bring with us joy and gratitude. We feel into our whole truth and know that joy and gratitude always lives alongside our grief. We know that we are expanded by our ability, our insistence to feel both. As we tune into the fullness of all that we carry, I invite you to consider what you're bringing with you today that you may want to share for our witness and support. Please share any sorrows, hopes, celebrations, heartaches, and longings that are on your heart to share in community in the chat. If you would like additional support in the form of pastoral care, please share that in the chat as well, and Pastor Jacqueline will respond over the next 2 days. As we sink into a moment of shared silence, I invite you to begin sharing in the chat. honoring all that we're holding with immense gratitude for this community and for the wisdom that all of us share. May each of our prayers be heard and held in love.
As we celebrate the many places that we find wisdom and celebrate this community together, let's reflect on what else we can learn from nature with this poem by Larry Butler, The Earth Says. The earth says, keep still, stay put and listen to the roar of silence. Hold on and root deep for treasure. Feel the sap rising through your bones. Wait and see what happens. The river says, keep flowing into the locks, swirling, swelling, swishing, and keep floating down and down and down, falling and carving the mountains down to the beautiful sea. The trees say, keep rooting, rooting and rising into sky. Spread out your arms to embrace everything. Breathe deep and deeper with each falling leaf. Gather fruit and nuts for winter. The sky says, keep looking. Sniff the air. Notice the small changes, moment by moment, breath by breath, cloud by cloud, watching your thoughts float by. The birds say, keep singing. Sing from your heart and fly from branch to branch. Stay curious, stay light, and start fresh each year with a new nest. And then be patient. Sit on your eggs until they hatch. The sun says, keep smiling. Smile at your reflection on still water. From dawn to dusk, go outside. Go outside to play with light and shadow in the day's long dazzle leaping through thin air. The compost heap says, keep rotting, decomposing, turning, burning. Digest everything that comes your way and keep returning to the earth. And the earth returns tenfold to you. The earth says, keep still, stay put, wait, and see what happens next. Blessed be.
Hearing is a labor like reading. Hearing is a labor like keeping still. Hearing is a labor like seeing, seeing for real. These final word offerings come from the jazz musician Leroy Williams. Instead of trying to play the music all the time, you sometimes have to let it play you. And you have to be relaxed enough to let that happen. Wise words. Let the music of your life play you. Play with the unknown as though it were music, emerging from the silence. And just see what happens. Just listen. As our chapel comes to a close, I offer a dedication of merit in the spirit of my Buddhist lineage, in honor of our contemplation to all diurnal beings finding their way in the darkness. With this chant. By the confidence of the primordial spark in the dark, may the veins of our social body carry life force. May we dare to relax and discover what is possible in the dark. May all living beings enjoy profound, brilliant glory. We are now complete, beloveds. Go forth. Be the light in the dark.
Thank you all for your presence. If you wish to unmute and offer closing greetings, feel welcome. Our meeting will close in just 1 minute. Thank you. Blessed be.
Here's a lot of love to all of you. Thank you for being here with us.
To everyone.